In a significant political maneuver that could reshape the landscape of Texas politics, the White House is urging Republican leaders in the state to pursue a mid-decade redistricting effort aimed at countering potential Democratic gains in the upcoming 2026 elections. This initiative, however, is stirring anxiety among Texas Republicans who fear that the quest to redraw district lines could inadvertently jeopardize their own incumbents in an election cycle that analysts predict may lean Democratic. The push for redistricting comes as President Trump's political team actively encourages Texas Republicans to revisit the state's congressional maps. The goal is to modify the boundaries of House districts to convert Democratic strongholds into Republican territory by incorporating reliable Republican voters from neighboring districts. However, the strategy is fraught with risks as it could backfire by diluting the support for incumbent Republicans rather than solidifying their positions. A source close to Trump, who spoke on condition of anonymity, emphasized the need for a ruthless approach to securing additional congressional seats. The president will pay close attention to those in his party who help or hurt that effort, the source warned. Despite this, a recent emergency meeting among Texas Republican lawmakers revealed widespread reluctance to engage in redistricting discussions. Representative Pete Sessions acknowledged the need for further data analysis and collaborative discussions to understand the potential repercussions of any redistricting moves. Redistricting is traditionally conducted at the beginning of each decade following the release of census data. However, mid-decade redistricting is rare and typically contentious, especially given the current legal battles surrounding the maps drawn in 2021. A trial is ongoing in federal court, where organizations representing minority voters argue that the existing maps disadvantage Black and Hispanic communities. The urgency behind the White House's redistricting push appears to stem from President Trump's apprehensions regarding the Republican Party's slim majority in the House, which he fears could be lost, hindering his administration's agenda and enabling heightened scrutiny from Democratic lawmakers. Given that Republicans currently hold a 25-12 advantage in Texas's House delegation, the potential for additional gains through redistricting is uncertain. Some Republican strategists believe they could secure 4 or 5 additional seats, but this would necessitate significant alterations to existing districts. Complicating matters further, the Texas Democratic Party is ramping up its organizing efforts, signaling a proactive approach to capitalize on any Republican missteps. With funding from high-profile donors, Democrats are eyeing opportunities for gains not only in congressional races but also potentially in the Senate, particularly if polarizing figures like Attorney General Ken Paxton secure their positions in upcoming primaries. As discussions around redistricting intensify, the Texas legislature will need to convene a special session to approve any changes, as they are not scheduled to reconvene until 2027. Governor Greg Abbott's willingness to call such a session remains to be seen, as does the response from Texas Republicans, who are now caught in a delicate balance between party loyalty and electoral strategy. The stakes are high, and the impact of these deliberations will reverberate well beyond the state's borders, potentially influencing the national political landscape as the 2026 midterms approach. As Texas remains a focal point for both parties, the outcome of this redistricting initiative could determine not only the fate of individual incumbents but also the broader power dynamics in Congress, and an unexpected twist of political fate. The fractious relationship between former President Donald Trump and billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk recently showcased the hypocrisy embedded within the Republican Party. As the two prominent figures traded barbs, their fallout not only revealed the transactional nature of their alliance but also illuminated the broader contradictions within GOP politics. This episode, which can only be described as a spectacle of self-interest, raises pressing questions about the values and priorities of the party as it heads into the next electoral cycle. The initial catalyst for their public split emerged on June 5 when Trump threatened to cut off Musk's lucrative government contracts, stating, "The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts." This statement starkly highlighted the Republican Party's willingness to financially support Musk as long as he aligned himself with Trump. Until that moment, Musk had been lavished with government contracts, particularly through his companies SpaceX and Starlink, which had been promoted for their potential in military logistics and rural broadband initiatives. The New York Times had previously reported on how Musk's ventures were being embraced by the Trump administration, suggesting a cozy partnership fueled by mutual benefit. However, the moment Musk deviated from his supportive stance towards Trump, the GOP's loyalty evaporated. As columnist Rex Hupp commented, "We were happy to pay Musk whatever he wanted as long as he loved Trump, but the minute he stopped loving Trump, we can easily stop paying him." This sentiment underscores a deeper issue: the GOP's readiness to discard allies when they no longer serve a purpose. Such a transactional approach raises ethical concerns about the party's commitment to its constituents and principles. Musk's controversial shift from admiration to accusation further complicates this narrative. Just months prior, he had publicly expressed his affection for Trump, stating, "I love it real Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man." Yet following their fallout, Musk leveled accusations against Trump, alleging connections to notorious figures, thus framing Trump as a liability rather than an asset. This dramatic pivot reveals not only Musk's opportunism but also a broader trend among Republican elites who may support Trump out of necessity rather than genuine loyalty. Moreover, the GOP's initial embrace of Musk, despite his erratic behavior and controversial business practices, reveals a troubling willingness to overlook substantial red flags in the pursuit of political gain. Musk's short-lived role as the overseer of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) was marked by a failure to produce meaningful reforms, resulting in significant disruptions to federal operations. Despite recognizing Musk's shortcomings, Republican leaders eagerly sought to align themselves with his wealth and influence, only to abandon him once he became a liability. As the GOP grapples with the implications of this feud, the fallout may extend beyond personal animosities. The party faces potential instability as it approaches the 2026 midterms, with internal divisions becoming increasingly pronounced. Trump's influence continues to loom large, yet his combative style may alienate moderates and independents, complicating the party's electoral strategies. Meanwhile, Musk's unpredictable behavior casts a long shadow over any future collaborations, leaving Republicans to reconsider their alliances in a rapidly changing political landscape. In conclusion, the fallout from the Trump-Musk feud serves as a cautionary tale for the Republican Party, highlighting the dangers of transactional relationships in politics. As the party prepares for upcoming elections, it must confront not only the repercussions of this rift but also the larger question of what it stands for in an era defined by division and disillusionment. The future of the GOP will depend on its ability to reconcile these internal conflicts and re-establish a coherent identity that resonates with a diverse electorate. In a significant development on the legislative front, the U.S. Senate has passed the bipartisan American Music Tourism Act, a bill aimed at bolstering music tourism across the nation. Spearheaded by Senators John Hickenlooper of Colorado and Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, this legislation seeks to enhance the economic impact of music tourism, a sector projected to generate over $11.3 billion in revenue by 2032. The bill now awaits approval from the House of Representatives before it can be signed into law by the President. Senator Hickenlooper, who introduced the bill in the last Congress and reintroduced it this term, emphasized the importance of music to Colorado's economy. Colorado's vibrant music scene attracts artists and fans from around the world, he stated, highlighting that the legislation will not only support local venues but also expand their reach. Meanwhile, Senator Blackburn pointed out the rich musical heritage of Tennessee, referencing iconic landmarks such as Graceland and the Grand Ole Opry, which draw tourists from around the globe. Music tourism has such a positive impact on Tennessee's economy, she noted, underscoring the necessity of promoting the state's musical history for future generations. The American Music Tourism Act mandates the Commerce Department's Assistant Secretary for Travel and Tourism to devise a plan to enhance music tourism for both domestic and international travelers. Furthermore, it requires a report to Congress detailing the Assistant Secretary's initiatives and successes in promoting travel and tourism within this sector. Support for the legislation extends across various organizations including the Colorado Creative Industries Division, Live Nation Entertainment, and the Nashville Songwriters Association International, among others. Their backing reflects a widespread recognition of music tourism's role in sustaining local economies and fostering cultural exchange. This legislative progress comes at a time when the U.S. music industry is flourishing, generating over $43 billion annually, as the nation looks to recover and grow post-pandemic. Initiatives like the American Music Tourism Act could play a pivotal role in revitalizing communities reliant on tourism and cultural engagement. Looking forward, the successful passage of this bill could set a precedent for similar initiatives aimed at enhancing tourism across diverse sectors, further emphasizing the interconnectedness of culture and economic development in the United States. As the House prepares to deliberate on this legislation, stakeholders in the music industry and local economies alike are hopeful for a future where music tourism continues to thrive and contribute significantly to the nation's economic landscape. In a significant political shift, U.S. Representative Mark Green of Tennessee has announced his resignation from Congress to pursue an opportunity in the private sector. Green, who represents the 7th Congressional District, made this announcement on June 9, citing a heavy heart as he prepares to step away from his role in the House of Representatives. "It is with a heavy heart that I announce my retirement from Congress," Green stated in a media release. He elaborated that the decision comes after receiving an offer for a new position that he deemed too exciting to decline. He indicated that he would officially resign following a forthcoming vote on the House's reconciliation package. Green's political career has been marked by a blend of military service and legislative achievements. A veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan, he transitioned to politics after serving as a state senator in Tennessee from 2013 to 2018. He gained national attention when he was nominated in 2017 for the Secretary of the Army position, a nomination he ultimately withdrew due to backlash. In 2018, Green won the seat in Tennessee's 7th District, a position once held by current U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn. He was re-elected in November 2024, underscoring his sustained support among constituents. During his tenure in Congress, Green became known for his leadership role as chairman of the U.S. House Committee on Homeland Security, making him the only member to be appointed to a major committee at the beginning of a third term in the 21st century. His legislative efforts included pushing for the impeachment of former Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and supporting the Secure the Border Act. His commitment to military and veteran issues was evident from the beginning of his congressional career as he introduced the Protecting Gold Star Spouses Act shortly after being sworn in. Green's political journey has not been without its twists. Earlier this year, he announced plans to retire, stating, "Our country, and our Congress, is broken beyond most means of repair." He expressed a desire to return home, reflecting on the intended role of representatives as citizen legislators. However, after receiving encouragement from numerous constituents, colleagues, and President Trump, he reversed his earlier decision and opted to run for re-election. In his statement regarding his resignation, Green highlighted his advocacy for military personnel, particularly in relation to the COVID-19 vaccine mandate for service members. He noted that many service members who were discharged for not complying with the mandate were reinstated under an executive order from Trump. "I fought for years to protect these service members, and now they're getting the justice they deserve," he remarked, indicating his pride in these legislative victories. Green's departure from Congress opens up a new chapter in his career while also raising questions about the future of Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. With a political landscape that continues to evolve, his resignation could pave the way for new leadership and shifts within the Republican Party as they strategize for upcoming elections. As the political arena braces for this transition, the implications of Green's departure will likely resonate beyond his district, affecting party dynamics and legislative priorities in the months to come. The search for his successor will unfold amid a backdrop of ongoing political challenges, setting the stage for significant developments as the 2026 midterm elections approach. In a striking moment that underscores the ongoing tensions within the U.S. judicial system, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson has issued a stern warning regarding the Supreme Court's handling of cases linked to former President Donald Trump. Her remarks come in light of a recent ruling that allows the Department of Government Efficiency, an obscure White House entity once led by billionaire Elon Musk, to access sensitive information from the Social Security Administration. This decision, rendered on June 6, 2025, has raised significant concerns about the implications of the court's actions on privacy and executive power. The ruling, which saw dissent from all three Democratic justices, hinges on the question of whether courts should intervene in executive branch decisions regarding the disclosure of government-held data. Solicitor General D. John Sauer, representing the Trump administration, argued that the plaintiffs in the case Afsam v. Social Security Administration failed to demonstrate any actual harm from the government's access to their information. He emphasized that judicial review over such internal management decisions is generally limited. However, Justice Jackson's dissent highlights a more profound issue. She expressed alarm over the rapid pace at which the Supreme Court is entertaining cases involving Trump, suggesting that the Republican justices have effectively discarded traditional judicial limits when it comes to matters involving the former president. Jackson's concerns reflect a broader unease about the court's so-called shadow docket, where urgent and often consequential decisions are made without the benefit of full briefing or oral arguments. This latest ruling not only illustrates the court's willingness to circumnavigate established norms but also signals a potentially alarming trend of prioritizing the interests of a politically favored administration over established legal principles. The case, emblematic of the Trump administration's broader legal strategy, raises questions about the separation of powers and the potential for executive overreach. The implications of these developments are significant, as they could set a precedent for future administrations to exploit similar judicial pathways to circumvent traditional checks and balances. Legal scholars and analysts are now closely monitoring the court's future decisions, particularly as they pertain to executive authority and individual privacy rights. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the judiciary's role in maintaining the rule of law will be under scrutiny. The upcoming months may reveal whether the Supreme Court will reaffirm its commitment to judicial integrity or continue down a path that prioritizes expediency over established legal doctrine. The stakes are high, not just for the Trump administration but for the future of judicial independence in the United States. As these developments unfold, observers will be keenly attuned to how the Supreme Court navigates the complexities of executive power, individual rights, and the enduring legacy of the Trump era, shaping the contours of American democracy in ways that may resonate for years to come.